Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about the most famous and biggest streaming service in the world right now, Netflix, of course. Netflix has been hit or miss for a couple of years now because they've been getting more and more liberal biased over there, and they support things like lots of liberals. They made documentaries very positive about AOC. Barack Obama and his wife both work for Netflix. It's a very biased left-wing company that also offers some good things too, sure. I mean, I still watch Netflix. I still like to stream The Office on there once in a while. They have a few good shows left, but shortly, very soon, they could be in trouble since all these other services are popping up. Disney Plus came out last year. HBO Max is coming out this year. There's been a lot of new competition, and Netflix is struggling to keep up. And if they keep messing up, like with the story we're going to talk about today, they could be in for a really, really bad turn, and a turn for the worse. You see, what happened recently was fans of the Back to the Future film series discovered that their film had been re-edited and some parts have been cut out of the movie that made them honestly very upset. And I can see why. I mean, I don't understand why they would want to cut a few things out. It doesn't really make sense because this is a movie streaming platform. Netflix produces content of all varieties. There's stuff for kids, stuff for adults, there's cursing, there's killing, there's nudity sometimes. I mean, they have everything on there. So to edit Back to the Future seems a little strange. I think what happened was there was something in the film that wasn't necessarily PC anymore these days. I mean, Back to the Future is supposed to be like a family film. Kids might watch it, teens, it's for everyone. So their decision to cut this part out was kind of upsetting and kind of interesting too. And things actually turned for the better, and we'll see come later to find out that the decision was actually reversed. So there was a big backlash about this, and the fans got angry, and then Twitter did its thing. Everyone was talking about this story, and fortunately Netflix actually caved in and returned and restored the original cut of the film. So this problem has been fixed. So there's a happy ending here, but before we get to that happy ending, we need to talk about what happened first and the problems. We need to get this story all spelled out. So I started off with this tweet here. It's from Salty Nerd. They said, "Hey Netflix, you want to explain to me why you edited Back to the Future too? This is the original scene. You cut out the magazine cover discovery and 2 lines from Marty, and not even that well. Your edit was sloppy. What gives?" Okay, so this is the scene in question. We can't really play a lot here because of copyright, but let me just spell it out. I kind of remember. I love this movie too, by the way. Big Back to the Future fan, so I'm definitely interested in this story and glad it turned out for the better. I was actually going to make this video a few days ago, and it was going to be a more angry video, but then since it's been fixed, it does have a happy ending. But again, it's actually bad, and Netflix shouldn't have done this in the first place. So let me explain the scene. In this scene, you can see Marty in this picture, and he finds a magazine. This is the magazine they've been looking for during this whole movie. And what happens is he opens the magazine, and it's actually not what he was looking for. It has the cover on another magazine. So Biff is the bad guy, and I believe he's the one that has the real almanac. There's a sports almanac that Marty's trying to get for a number of reasons. I could go on and explain the whole movie, but essentially he thinks he found the almanac, but really it's kind of like this girl magazine that's inside the cover of the almanac. And the girl magazine, it's called Ooh La La, and it's obviously some naughty pictures of some girls, like an adult male magazine, something adult males would look into. And I don't think there's actually any nudity. I don't think there's actually anything too bad with this. Like, it's still a kid's movie, but I think the fact that he gets a girl magazine like this, and there's a little shot of someone, kind of a sexy girl on the cover, but not naked, just like a little bit risque, and that's why Netflix cut it out. Now you can see where this is going. It was basically them trying to chop out this magazine and this Ooh La La bit. It's called Ooh La La, and it has a sexy girl on it. Netflix wanted to cut that out, and apparently they did it in a very sloppy way, and they had to cut out 2 of Marty's lines in the process. They couldn't come up with something better. They couldn't find a way to either, I don't know. This shouldn't have been done at all, though. It shouldn't. I don't even want to predict or guess a better way to do this. I just want to say no re-editing. Let's keep the films as they are. And this is just a bad sign for a number of reasons. First of all, it's showing how brazen Netflix is that they'll cut these masterpieces. They're going to recut things like Back to the Future. Like, what's next? Are you going to take out some shootings in The Godfather? Like, what are you going to do next? Like, this is classic cinema, and it goes to show that this is why people say say in the modern era, it's more important now than ever to have hard copies of your files, of your videos and your movies and your music, because everything's streaming nowadays. And what happens with that is you lose a lot of control. You wouldn't even know if this got edited normally. You just would be watching and you'd be on your TV, you'd stream it on your phone or your laptop, and then you just go through and click on things and stream them from the internet. So you don't really have the file and the control. You don't have a Blu-ray disc or some kind of hard drive with media files on it. You don't have that, so that's how things get manipulated, and that's where we are today. Netflix has gotten so brazen, they're taking out scenes from Back to the Future, a classic movie that admittedly, I mean, this isn't going to ruin the experience. We're not trying to be too dramatic here, but it is making it unpure. It is tainting it. It is showing how bold they'll do, and it makes you wonder why and how they've been doing this for so long. And then the next thing I want to talk about is the sort of hypocrisy here. This was a move to make their platform and their movie more PC. Obviously, they wanted to cut out this risque girl in the Ooh La La magazine. But I thought that liberals were supposed to be like sex positive, right? Like, weren't they supposed to be like, oh, my body, my choice, everyone can do whatever they want? Like, we're supposed to be like that. But at the same time, Netflix is trying to make things more PC. It doesn't really add up, if you ask me. It's like, which one is it, you know? Because they also have other kinds of content like this on their website. They have ones that address other liberal issues. They have the AOC documentary, which isn't risque, okay, but I'm saying what the point is like, wasn't this going to be okay? Like, I thought they were supposed to be sex positive. And then also the next step is, I mean, these are the same kinds of liberals that put these drag queens in front of children. They're the ones that would defend things like these stripper dances at a middle school or something like that. They have these very extreme bad situations where they're having drag queens kind of opening up their legs at a reading for children's books, and they'll support that. But no, you can't have a naughty magazine in a teen movie. I mean, granted, this is like a family movie for all ages, but I don't think there's any nudity. I don't think there's anything wrong here. It was just a very, like, yeah, I could see where it's dated. Like, okay, that would have been more okay in the 80s because things weren't so strict. But we shouldn't be so strict now. That's the point. We shouldn't be this politically correct. We shouldn't be forced to re-edit masterpieces like Back to the Future. And we shouldn't be giving in to this kind of hypocrisy either. The liberals want to control things. They want to have it both ways. They want to say, hey, we can PC and cut down these classics, but also we're sex positive and we're putting drag queens in the kindergarten schools, and they're going to have a stripper pole dance class and all that stuff. It doesn't make sense to me, but again, this is just part of their agenda. They don't have any self-reflection. They don't understand how hypocritical things are sometimes, and that's what's brought us here today. Here's some response to this original Salty Nerd tweet. It says, God, this edit is terrible. Why even mess with this, Netflix? Did you get permission from Robert Zemeckis? That's a good point. I wonder how far they have to go. I guess if they have streaming rights, they can manipulate stuff. I don't know if that's in their contract, though. Like, I think a lot of these films and these creators would prefer their projects to be aired in the original intended way, and that could really mess with things. And then One Angry Gamer gets interested. Here's the edit, sloppily edited. Who knows what other movies they've tampered with. This is the almanac thing I was talking about. What I don't get is they keep the majority of the magazine in full view. Only thing removed from this scene is the front page and him saying the name of it in disbelief. I can't fathom the idea of this edit in the first place. Neither can anyone else. It's just simply dumb. I'd like to see the clip of the edited scene. Netflix timestamp. There's the timestamp. You could find it at 1:20 in the movie. And yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like this guy was saying, I was trying to get at that too. I wasn't sure how exactly it played out, but the fact is they just took out the ooh la la part. They just took out him saying that in the cover, and there's still pictures of girls. They're obviously not naked. I think they're just in underwear or bikinis or something. And it boggles you. It's like, why? It doesn't make any sense. It's not even really making it more PC. I don't know why they think ooh la la is that risque of a thing to say. It's not the worst. I mean, I get it. Like, okay, ooh la la is kind of like hinting that something's romantic, something could possibly get sexual, but this just makes no sense. This one said, Maud Flanders complains this shit happens. This is why I don't use Netflix. This is Salty Nerd talking about them fixing it. And yeah, Maud Flanders, that's the one we talked about that quote recently in another video. It's the Maud Flanders from The Simpsons. She's the one that says, "Think of the children. Why don't anyone think of the children?" And that's turned into a meme that's gone on for years now. And it actually just came up in that other video we did. It was about Nancy Pelosi attacking Trump, and she was trying to pretend she cared about children when obviously she doesn't. She's an evil, terrible person. But they always act like they care about the kids. Oh, pretend, think of the children. And then here's a good tweet from Bob. It says, "They can't fix the Office intro being twice as loud as the show and complained about for years, but can ghost edit movies. What a joke." And they fixed it within 24 hours of that tweet. Priorities? Okay, so they fixed it. They fixed the Back to the Future, but the Office music is still too loud. This Cameron guy has a good quote. It says, "Ridiculous, this sort of thing that backward Asian countries do. I think it's time to unsubscribe from Netflix for a year. I don't really need it now and could use the saving. The original version has been restored. Netflix addresses the issue, FYI." So Salty Nerd is coming back and kind of defending, at least informing people that they fixed it. That's a good turn. I'm glad they fixed it, but again, they shouldn't have done it in the first place. We can't really give them all the credit. We can give them credit for listening and doing the right thing in the end and not like doubling down. But they still made the mistake, and they still should be more careful and honest. Like, I don't get why they would mess with something like this. It just, that's the thing too. It's like the littlest thing that makes you really, really wonder. Like, sometimes there might be a good excuse to re-edit something and take something out, and if it doesn't really matter, you can kind of look away and be like, all right, whichever. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I'm more of a purist. I'm more of a film fan and fanatic, and would say, hey, leave these things the original way, the original format. Keep everything in there. No cuts unless you actually note them. If you tell us, hey, this is a recut version, if it's said, oh, this is the shorter version, this is the director's cut, that's a different situation. But to sneak edit something so small, so meaningless, it really makes you wonder. And the last thing I'll say before we wrap things up, and the last note to point out here is, yes, this is a win. We actually won here. The fans won. We have another instance where the company has listened to the people's outcry and they fixed the movie. And this reminds me of another recent video we just did about the Snyder Cut. Justice League is announced to have a new Snyder Cut coming out after fans begged for it for years. And that was good for Warner Brothers to kind of give the fans what they want. And in this case, it's pretty good for Netflix to listen and fix their mistake. Now, it's definitely two different situations, and they both involve mistakes kind of getting fixed. You know, Justice League was a bad movie that needed a little fixing. But the point is, Netflix really messed up and did something bad and a no-no, and they fixed it. And now we can say the fans won, and it's good to feel kind of vindicated and show that they are listening, and we do have a little bit of power out there. That about wraps things up. Thanks for watching today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Tell me what you think about Netflix, this re-edit, Back to the Future, and all the cool stuff we talked about today. Also, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. That helps us get shared. And until next time, have a great day.